Hey friends, welcome to your reading. Today's reading is all about your dream schedule, how you live, work, and play in total freedom and wealth. What if your dream life isn't as far away as it feels? Today we're going to use the cards to show you exactly what your dream schedule looks like, how you wake up in freedom, how you work on your own terms, and how you play, rest, and create a life that feels soft, sacred, and fully yours. Now, if you are new to pick-a-card readings, here's how it works. First thing that you're going to do here is you are going to pick the pile or the crystal that you are the most intuitively drawn to. We have pile 1 here with heat-treated citrine. We have pile 2 here with rhodonite. We have pile 3 here with pink amethyst, and we have pile 4 here with carnelian flower agate. You can choose one pile, you can choose more than one pile, or you can choose all of them. It is totally up to you, but when you're ready, go to the description of this video, find the timestamp that is linked to your pile, and then you can skip ahead to your reading. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and I will see you on the inside. Hi pile 1, hey friends. Welcome to your reading. Let's talk about the vibe of your dream day. What's the emotional feeling or aesthetic of your free life? So we have the Hierophant in reverse here, and so this talks about freedom from conventional rules, institutions, or outdated routines. You no longer live by society's timeline, pile 1. This can talk about this feeling of like rebellious peace, right? Or like spiritual sovereignty, or this non-traditional beauty. I feel like the aesthetic here, it could be like bohemian, maybe eclectic. I'm feeling like it's like this barefoot luxury, almost like a spiritual CEO energy. So for example, maybe some of you here are people who used to work in a 9-to-5 and now you build your spiritual brand on YouTube from a quiet cottage by the sea. Or maybe some of you here are homeschooling moms who live nomadically, ditching the old school work grind model, right? We also have purple diamond here. This one says manifesting your dreams. So your daily life is going to be a manifestation of your highest soul desires. The energy here is magical. It's opulent. It's radiant. I feel like your time is no longer transactional, pile 1. It's a reflection of your power to manifest and receive. So maybe you start your day here with visualization and scripting while sipping matcha on the porch. That sounds dreamy. If that's what you're up to, give me a call, pile 1, because that sounds like a vibe and that sounds like a perfect way to start your day. Like, I am a huge proponent of a morning routine, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It doesn't even have to consist of anything really. Some people just need the silence or just a moment to themselves before diving into, you know, everything that life requires of us in our day. So yeah, I'm feeling really strongly to call that out, like maybe a morning routine, or like to carve out some sacred time for yourself before you know, start to hop into other roles, or like, you know, start to wear other hats. I'm also thinking like maybe some of you here might only be working like 3 hours a day but still receive large amounts of money, right? So it's like you're working in a way that feels good to you, it feels intuitive to you. Maybe it's not that you earn some sort of hourly rate from like a corporate job. Maybe it's that you are an influencer, and maybe you're working constantly. Maybe you work a little bit every day, but maybe you're working like 3 hours a day and you're still making like 5 to 10K on offers or brand deals, or, you know, there can just be so many different options here. I feel very encouraged to let you know to dream bigger. Sky's the limit, right? You have this gem in your hands. I don't know what it is that you're working towards or working on, pile 1, but I feel like you have some sort of gem, some sort of very important, powerful like thing to offer. And so I just want to let you know, like, keep going, take that chance. So let's get a little bit more specific, right? What is your ideal morning routine? What does waking up in freedom look like for you? And what are you doing in the first few hours of the day? We have the Fool here, and so with this, I feel like you're waking up excited. It feels playful, right? It feels very lighthearted. There's no pressure here. I feel like this feels very spontaneous. It feels very joyful. I feel like it feels very present, right? So for those of you who used to wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my god, it's already like, 7 o'clock, and now I've got to like rush and get ready and then like eat really quick, and then I got to hit the road because there's going to be traffic on the way to work, and you're just like, ugh, dreading the whole day ahead. In this reality that you've created for yourself here, Pile 1, this dream schedule, right? This total freedom and wealth vibe for you, I feel like you don't have to go through any of that anymore. The aesthetic here is like sunshine pouring in through, white curtains, right? Choose your color. That's just like the image that's coming up in my mind. But I just feel like there's going to be like beautiful sunshine pouring in, music on, like barefoot dancing. Again, I don't feel like you're going to be setting an alarm. I feel like your day begins with intuition, maybe yoga or journaling or a walk by the ocean with your child or children, right? Or your pet or your loved ones, or just maybe with yourself, right? Taking a moment to be with your higher self. I feel like you're also going to feel very cozy, right? I keep hearing the word like hygge. Is it hygge or hygge? Hygge. I'm very much like, I was talking to my husband last night and I was like, what kind of like wizard or warlock are you? We're very witchy here. And as much as we are witchy too, we're not. So it's funny. Like we're a nice combination of all sides of life. But I love archetypes. I love, I'm just a big fan. And so I always like to figure out like what type of witch are you? And I'm always like, ooh, yeah, like I'm an eclectic witch, but I'm also like very much a hearth witch, very much a kitchen witch, very much a garden witch, green witch. So I'm very much a love witch too. So anyway, for all my witchy folks out there, you get the vibe. But I just feel like some of you here are just going to be so pleasantly surprised with the level of comfort and flow that you create. Like I can see you wearing cozy, flowy clothes and following what feels fun first, and the energy just doesn't feel forced anymore. I feel like when I'm sitting here with your energy, Pile 1, I can finally take an exhale. I can finally lean back in my chair and just be, right? Just enjoy. Now, we also have Libra. This one says balance. So I really do feel like your morning has this gentle structure, but it's emotionally and mentally balanced. So, it feels very harmonious. It feels soft, right? Like we mentioned earlier, it feels very emotionally nurturing. So I think that you're going to have time for things like beauty and wellness, and you prioritize you before other things, right? Or other tasks. So maybe some of you here end up doing skincare rituals, or you pull cards, or you listen to something inspiring like a podcast or an audiobook while making a nourishing breakfast, right? Maybe you check in with your creative ideas and there's no urgency or overwhelm. It just feels, again, very, very, very intuitive. Next, let's talk about how you work on your terms. What kind of work are you doing in this dream life? How many hours do you work? What's the energy? And who are you helping or impacting? So we have judgment in reverse here. And so Pile 1, I feel like you're choosing a path that breaks karmic cycles. You're not answering to external expectations, but really you're like listening to your inner calling. It feels very deep and raw and honest and soul-led. I feel like the work energy here is like you work less, but again, like more spiritual impact. The boundaries feel very strong here. So maybe some of you here end up running a membership or a podcast or YouTube where you guide others through healing and awakening, but you set your hours and pricing. Maybe some of you here have rejected hustle culture and you show up only when your energy is high and aligned. We also have Moonflower, take a risk. So Pile 1, you've built your dream work life because you dare to do it differently. And that's what I was feeling from the start with your pile. I feel like it's this like beautiful, rebellious energy. It's very courageous too. It's not just like rebellious just to be rebellious, but it's like you being very honest with the cracks that you see in the system and the areas that could be improved, right? Like I feel like COVID, for those of you who were in the United States during that time when we dealt with the coronavirus, when we had to stay home and work from home, it taught us a lot about work efficiency and how some people actually worked better and performed better when they were able to work from the comfort of their home, or to be able to set their hours, or to take the breaks that they needed to. Like, I have one uncle who he has no desire to like be an entrepreneur or to work for himself, but he's worked in corporate for his entire life and he loves it. But during COVID, he was able to have some like work from home. Eventually he got into like a hybrid model, which he has right now. But he was telling me like just the ability to like throw a load of laundry in like in between meetings, or like just the ability to like go ahead and make yourself a nourishing meal at home, like while you're listening in on a meeting, meant so much to him versus like rushing and then like running through like, you know, McDonald's before you go to your like the next meeting in person. So anyway, I just feel like you're going to be doing things your way. You're going to be daring to do things differently. I keep hearing like differently than your family, or maybe differently than the generations that came before you. The energy is very edgy here. It's very courageous. It's mysterious. So pile 1, you've stepped into unknown territory, right? Maybe you quit your safe 9 to 5. I definitely know that story, and for those of you who have been with me on this channel from the start, you know how much I love sharing my story about my shift from 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship, because it was a journey and it still is. And I feel like if I can share the pearls of wisdom and the insights and kind of things that I've learned through my journey, it may help somebody else to do the same as well. And really what I've gotten from taking that leap is more freedom, more autonomy, more independence, right? It's not for everyone, but for those of you who feel called, I just want to remind you to keep trusting that feeling, keep trusting that inner call, keep following the guidance. I know sometimes some people are open to making a drastic life shift, and then some other people need to ease into it gradually, and you're not wrong for doing it in either way, right? You have to do it in a way that works for you and your nervous system. Maybe some of you here want to start investing in yourself, right? Maybe you start taking coaching programs or courses, or you know, you buy some new equipment for your YouTube channel or whatever it is, right? I just feel like some of you here are going to be launching some sort of creative idea. Maybe some of you here are going to leave a job or a partnership to start your own intuitive-based coaching brand, right? Or your own intuitive-based content brand or media brand, right? Or channel or whatever it is, podcast, blog, so many different things. Maybe some of you here share vulnerable, transformational content that really activates your soul community, right? I keep hearing too, like you're finally finding your soul family or finding like-minded people, right? If you felt different or like a black sheep or very different or like very much like the other growing up, I feel like very strongly you're calling in community. You're gonna be like, wow, there are people who like are vibrating on the same level as me. There are people who resonate with the same things. There are people who are in the same mental, emotional, spiritual wavelength, right? And this is going to be really beautiful. So let's talk about how you play and rest, pile 1. Let's talk about what fun looks like in your ideal schedule. What are you doing in your free time? What sort of hobbies or travel or community connection is happening here? So we have the Queen of Wands here, and so I keep hearing like elation. You're going to be so happy, pile 1. I'm so excited for you. I just feel like you're very magnetic, you're expressive, you're radiant, and you're fully yourself when at play, right? So I want you to think about things like bold joy and sensual pleasure and personal power. Your rest is creative. Things like dancing or styling outfits or creating magic or planning adventures, whatever it is that lights you up and that gets you in that playful energy. I want you to start thinking about how you can schedule that into your week this week, right? So like for me, whenever I'm just like at the beach, swimming in the ocean, like looking for like shells and, you know, snorkeling, looking at the fish, like playing with my kids, just like pretty much like frolicking around the beach and in the ocean like a child, that's what brings up that playful energy. What also brings up that playful energy for me is dancing, music, creating, like creating here on YouTube or on my podcast or on TikTok. There's certain things that really do bring up that playful, light, creative energy. And so this is the card that reminds you to tap more into that. So maybe some of you here book a spontaneous weekend trip with your family or your girlfriends or your loved ones or your partner or your kids or whatever it is, right? Maybe it's a little solo trip. I've definitely done that before. I've taken a little like day trip you know, to the next like town over, and oh my god, it's just like fabulous. So yeah, this is very specific, but like I wonder if some of you here are gonna like start a podcast, or maybe you have a podcast already and you throw like a bold lip color and then you record a podcast episode just for fun, right? You're like, I'm gonna wear that fiery red lip color and I'm gonna go record that podcast on whatever it is that's calling to you. Maybe some of you here host women's circles, or you go to open mic nights to share your poetry, right? Slam poetry, those kind of things. Because I just see people in the back like snapping. I also feel like jazz could be an element to this too. We also have this one says planning, setting intentions, and optimism. So I feel like this play and rest that we spoke about, they're very much intentional, and it's you using play and rest to design your joy. So I feel like in this era of total freedom, pile 1, you are going to be feeling hopeful, grounded, again, playful. I think that you're always sowing seeds for your next cycle, you know, in work and in personal life and leisure. So maybe some of you here are planning creative retreats, or you're setting goals during rest days, and your hobbies are extensions of your soul, right? Like maybe it's gardening or candle making or dance or astrology or whatever it is, right? Maybe your calendar reflects this dreamy mix of creation and connection and quiet. I also want to roll some astro dice. Let's get more information on what your life looks like in total freedom, your dream schedule. Pile 1. So we have Saturn in the 12th house. So I feel like the vibe of your day here is peaceful, right? It's very much structured from within. It is deeply spiritual, right? It's this like spiritual discipline, or this quiet power, this like sacred solitude with Saturn in the 12th house. In terms of how you live life daily, I feel like you start your mornings, again, in intentional silence. Maybe this is no phone, just meditation or journaling or breath work. I really feel strongly here, pile 1, that you protect your alone time like it's sacred. You need space to decompress and to hear your intuition. So maybe you wake at 6 a.m. and you light a candle, and then you spend the first hour in solitude and you tune in with spirit before the world wakes up. In terms of how you work on your terms, you do work that's healing, right? Maybe this is work that's behind the scenes or helps others to process emotion or spiritual blocks. This is my pile that might prefer quiet creative autonomy, like writing or energy work or research or building systems that really do support others. So for example, maybe some of you here are trauma-informed coaches or dream work guides, or, you know, creators that create healing content from home with long solo blocks, right? In terms of how you play and rest, maybe you enjoy solo retreats or long baths or spiritual rituals for fun. I think in terms of play, it's creating safe inner worlds, whether this is movies or poetry or nature walks or museums. Maybe, for example, like some of you here go off grid for a weekend retreat, or you spend a Sunday afternoon deep cleaning while listening to soulful music. Something that just feels deeply nourishing to your spirit. Thank you so much, friends. I hope that this reading gave you a clear, beautiful glimpse into what's truly possible for you, not just someday, but now. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below with which pile you chose and what resonated most. You know I love to hear about the life that you're dreaming into. Be sure to check out my channel page titled Tarot. I have tons of pick-a-card readings on manifesting your best life, your dream career, home, money breakthroughs, and your next level self. Remember, pile 1, your dream life isn't just a fantasy. It's a frequency that you can begin to align with, one choice, one moment, and one boundary at a time. Remember, you're meant to be free, and you are so worthy of a schedule and a life that honors your soul. I am cheering you on always. I will see you in the next reading. Lots of love. Bye, Tidal Tribe. Hi, pile 2. Hey, friends. Welcome to your reading. Let's talk about the vibe of your dream day. What is the emotional feeling or aesthetic of your free life? So we have the 10 of Pentacles here, and with this represents long-term wealth. It can talk about generational support and this foundational security. So pile 2, you are no longer hustling. This is the energy of you arriving, right? So maybe you have a kitchen with homemade herbal infusions and a backyard with kids playing and a sacred altar next to your laptop. Maybe you're surrounded by both beauty and legacy. Everything feels very integrated here, pile 2. Your family, your money, your purpose, and rest. So this is the card that affirms that your freedom schedule does include true wealth, right? Time to be present, space to nurture those that you love, and rituals that support longevity. I feel like some of you here are going to either have paid off debt and now money comes from aligned offers like, you know, real estate or coaching or intuitive digital products or whatever it is that resonates with you, right? I just feel like you live in a space where your family can thrive emotionally and physically. Maybe you even co-create with your partner or your children in some way. This is the energy of you just having enough, right? And not just enough, but like you having more than enough, right? You have time to slow cook or journal or do real healing. Things don't feel as rushed here. So we also have moon belly, healing your gut. And so this represents this deep inner safety, listening to the wisdom of the body. So pile 2, this is you trusting your instincts. It's letting your gut guide your pace. This is you deprogramming urgency and things like scarcity and hyperproductivity. I feel like your dream day isn't about achieving more, but it's about digesting life better, right? Because I feel like you want to feel regulated, safe, and at peace and in your own rhythms. I don't know if some of you here have somebody like a boss or a parent or somebody who like tries to control your schedule, and maybe everybody works in a different way. So maybe they have like high energy and so they're like constantly like pushing, doing, going, and maybe that's not the way your nervous system works, right? I feel like maybe this is you working when your gut feels right? And you resting when your body needs it. You no longer override your intuition to perform or to people please, pile 2. I feel like food or routines and time, again, they feel nourishing, not rushed. So let's dive deeper. Let's talk about your ideal morning routine. Let's talk about what waking up in freedom looks like for you and what you're doing in the first few hours of the day. We have the Magician in reverse here. So this can talk about depowering external performance, really reclaiming that inner stillness. So the feeling here, it just feels like surrender. It feels like honesty. It really does feel like a protection of sacred space. You're not on in the morning, if you know what I mean. Like I feel like you no longer try to force manifesting or over planning your day. Your mornings are yours. They're slow, they're soulful, and they're selective. You've outgrown the need to prove your worth through output, right? And your mornings are protected from outer influence, whether this is social media or clients or pressure. Maybe some of you here light a candle and sip warm tea and then check in with your emotional landscape before even touching your phone in the morning. Maybe you don't use mornings to jump into work or compare yourself. Maybe you even schedule nothing in the morning, right? I could see some of you here even using like voice notes or intuitive journaling, trusting that your day is going to unfold instead of trying to manifest from pressure, like we spoke about earlier. We also have transits. This one says climate. So this is energetic awareness. This is emotional intelligence, pile 2. So this is you giving yourself permission to change with the season. Your dream morning doesn't look the same every day. And that's your superpower. You've created a life where your energy determines your schedule, not the other way around. So I feel like pile 2, you're very cyclical, you're lunar, you're tuned in, and you stop forcing routines that don't feel good to you. So maybe on some mornings you create, and on others you lie in bed and you listen to the birds, or you stretch, or you read a book, or you just tune in, right? Maybe some of you here track your cycle or your mood and then you adjust, right? You don't hold yourself to any sort of rigid patterns. Again, I also feel the energy of you just like checking in with the weather of your emotions, if you know what I mean, right? And like adjusting meetings or tasks or social interactions accordingly. And I really do feel like whatever it is that you do to receive this money or this income or this 10 of Pentacles here, it's going to allow you to have that freedom and flexibility in your schedule, to be able to cancel things without having to worry about whether you can pay the next bill, right? This is generational wealth. This is legacy. This is more than enough. This is abundance. So that is super, super exciting. Let's talk about how you work on your terms. What kind of work are you doing in this dream life pile 2? How many hours are you working? What's the energy? Who are you helping? And who are you impacting? So we have the Hanged Man in reverse here. This can talk about releasing passive waiting. This can talk about choosing empowered stillness. So the feeling here feels like detached clarity. You've taken your power back here, pile 2, and you've learned to say no to draining work. You no longer delay action out of fear, and you are finally stepping forward on your own terms. So this is the moment that you cut cords with people pleasing or undercharging or over delivering, and you've flipped the script, right? Your pause is your power, and it's no longer paralyzing, because I feel like you stop waiting for like perfect clarity or signs, and you just launch the offer, right? You set the price, you took the leap. You no longer chase clients or respond instantly or over explain yourself, right? Maybe you have a short work window, maybe like a 10 a.m. to a 2 p.m. where you drop in and flow, and everything else is rest or play. That reminds me, like I was looking up a sushi bar for one of my friends' birthdays coming up, and I was looking at their hours, and I was like, these are strange hours. Like they're literally open for 2 hours, like in the morning or whatever, and then they're open like later at night. Like how strange. Like how can you only be open for 2 hours? Like my rational brain was like, right, like you need to like do all this prep to be able to like open and serve, and then you have to do cleanup, and like that's just so odd. Like why would you be open for 2 hours and then close for a bunch of hours and then open up later at night? And it's like, that's because that's what I've seen in my town, in my reality, right? Somewhere in New York, that's probably very normal, or somewhere else, maybe where you live, that's probably very normal as well, right? So what I'm trying to explain here is like, you can play by your own rules. This is a restaurant, right? People sometimes expect, especially like here in America, people sometimes expect things to be open 24 hours, like Walmart, right? And it's like, no, people can set their own terms. People can work in ways that work best for them. And when you start to listen to your body and you start to work in a way that feels good to you, you'd be surprised at the beautiful ways that you can show up. You feel like you can do more, honestly. Not that you want to do more, but you catch my drift here. This makes me think about human design too. It's a lot about like energetics and like responding to what makes sense to your nervous system. So if any of you here know your human design type, drop it in the comments if you feel called. I love to connect and like share what our types are. I am a generator in a home full of manifesting generators. And do I have a reflector? No, I have one projector, generator, manifestor. Yeah, no, I think they're all manifesting generators, and I'm a generator. But I do have podcast episodes that can help you understand human design and your human design type and your chart in the most simple and easy beginner-friendly way. So I have my podcast, the That's Deep podcast, linked for you in the description if you feel called. We also have Moon Madness. This one says avoid drama. So this is emotional sovereignty, right? This is your freedom, pile 2. So again, this is detachment. This is peace. This is protection. You no longer work in environments or with people who drain you, pile 2. I'm even hearing like, even if this is a family business, you're done. Like, not you're done, but like you got to have some boundaries, right? So I just feel like this card reminds you that your dream work life is drama free. You don't take on energy that isn't yours. You're no longer reactive or scattered or dysregulated. So maybe you decline meetings with unclear purposes, right? Or maybe you use energetic hygiene practices like cord cutting or clearing or protection before you create or coach. Maybe you create your online space, right? You post less often, but with powerful presence. So next, let's talk about how you play and rest. What does fun look like in your ideal schedule? What are you doing with your free time? What sort of hobbies, travel, or community or connection is happening here? So we have the 6 of Cups in reverse here. So this can talk about like inner child maturity, right? This emotional self-reliance. This feels like bittersweet empowerment, right? Or like you redefining your joy. I feel like you've released nostalgic obligations and you now rest and play in ways that feel true, not sentimental or self-sacrificing, right? Like you no longer cling to what used to feel good, and you've made peace with outgrowing old dynamics and expectations, and you're defining adult joy, pile 2. So you no longer hang out with people out of guilt or history. I feel like you don't use rest as an escape, but you rest as this reclamation of your soul. I feel like you redefine play as movement, sensuality, boldness, and not just escape or comfort. We also have Carnelian, energy, leadership, and creativity. So this is embodied pleasure, right? This is fire in the belly. This is unapologetic joy, pile 2. This is you feeling alive, activated, unfiltered. This is your reminder that your play is powerful, you're not passive, and you lead yourself into your pleasure, pile 2. So this is a shift from this like invisible rest to radiant play. So you use your downtime to fill your well creatively and sensually. It's just so beautiful, pile 2. Maybe some of you here host full moon gatherings or ecstatic dance, or maybe you create many fashion photo shoots just because it lights you up. Maybe some of you here take bold solo adventures, hiking or dancing or starting passion projects without waiting for permission. Maybe you prioritize time to create without an outcome, right? Painting or singing or writing just for the joy of it. So let's roll some astro dice. Let's find out more about your dream schedule, pile 2. So we have Pluto in the 3rd house. So let's talk about the vibe of your dream day with Pluto in the 3rd house. This to me speaks to powerful communication, right? Deep focus, things like mental clarity, and like this total truth telling. So this feels curious, it feels focused, it feels transformative. Maybe the energy here could even feel a bit intense, but in a good way, right? Like every day is about getting to the root of something. So how you live your daily life, pile 2, I feel like you thrive in routines that include mental stimulation and soulful conversations. Maybe some of you here journal obsessively. Maybe you consume deep content like psychology or spirituality or mystery. Or maybe you just voice note your revelations all day. That's how I actually started my podcast. I was like, ooh, I get like these flashes of insight and I'd be like, I gotta like write that down. I gotta share this with someone. So I'd be like recording voice notes, and then eventually I'm like, let's just turn this into a podcast of like all of my musings, and there it is, the That's Deep podcast, full of spiritual and personal development tips, tricks, and pointers to help you manifest your best life, as it has to do with your career, with your relationships, your creativity, and so much more. So again, link is in the description if you feel called. But yeah, maybe some of you here start your day by, you know, doing your gratitude journaling or doing your shadow workbook, and then you record your insights while walking or driving, and this is your form of therapy, right? Or maybe some of you here, in terms of how you work on your own terms, I feel like you do transformational work through teaching or writing or coaching or content creation. You're not here to stay surface, pile 2. Your dream work involves unpacking people's patterns or speaking powerful truths. So again, maybe some of you here want to be a podcast host or a tarot reader or an educator who dives into taboo topics or mindset shifts or deep soul truth, and your words shift lives. Like I remember when I kept feeling the call to follow a more spiritual path and to kind of pursue like a, you know, having a spiritual business here, I was like, really? And oh my gosh, I love the tarot so much. It's changed my life. But I was like, what? Like, I'm going to read tarot cards? Like, because I have so much like religious background, and I was raised in the church my whole life. And I have so much conditioning that I'm still letting go of around, you know, diving into the spiritual and the mystic and the otherworldly. And what I've come to realize is it's all about intention. It's all about the energy that you're bringing into it. If you're going in there with dark energy, then that's what you'll see, right? But if you're going in there with white light, with good energy, with a pure heart, with love, the ability to kind of like manifest or create magic around those things, I feel like is a beautiful blessing, right? So I just feel like you're a natural at this. And I also want to talk about how you play and rest. So I do feel like with this, your fun is going to come from, again, like those research rabbit holes or late night conversations or dark humor or maybe even like secret creative projects. I just feel like you need space to explore your like obsessions in peace, right? And it's restful and it's exciting. So maybe some of you here binge old documentaries on cults, or you dive into your genealogy or you write fiction that feels like a psychic purge, right? It feels very, again, like therapeutic. It feels fun. So yes, thank you so much, friends. I hope that this reading gave you a very clear and beautiful glimpse into what's possible for you, not just someday, but right now. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below with what pile you chose and what resonated most. I love to hear about the life that you're dreaming into. Be sure to check out my channel page titled Tarot. I have tons of pick-a-card readings on manifesting your best life, your dream career, your home, your money breakthroughs, and your next level self. Remember that your dream life isn't just a fantasy, pile 2. It's a frequency that you can actually begin to align with now, one choice, one moment, and one boundary at a time. Remember that you're meant to be free. You are so worthy of a schedule and a life that honors your soul. I'm cheering you on always. I will see you on the next reading. Lots of love. Bye, pile 2. Hey, pile 3. Hey, friends. Welcome to your reading. Let's talk about the vibe of your dream day. What is the emotional feeling or aesthetic of your free life? We have the Four of Pentacles in reverse here. So I feel like you've let go of control, scarcity, and perfectionism, and overprotection with this. The tone here feels very free and liberating and open-hearted and abundant. I feel like the aesthetic of your life, pile 3, is very light. It's breathable and uncluttered. There's space, right? Mentally, emotionally, physically, for you to exhale. So maybe you no longer hoard time or money or energy out of fear, and you trust that there's always more. Maybe you have released the need to constantly be on or producing, and you feel safer being soft and still. We also have allow, accepting all parts of you. So I feel like the energy of your dream life is full of self-acceptance. It's healing, it's vulnerable, it's feminine. You're not just hustling for your worth, pile 3, but you're in deep relationship with yourself. So maybe you cry in the morning sun, or you laugh at your own jokes, or you wear whatever feels good that day and you don't apologize for needing that space. Now, let's dive deeper. Let's talk about your ideal morning routine. What does waking up in freedom look like for you? What are you doing in the first few hours of the day? So we have the Ten of Wands in reverse here. This is you releasing burdens. You don't wake up dreading the weight of the day anymore, is what I'm feeling. Things feel light, relieved, and very intentional. You start the day slow, right? And you start the day soft. Maybe it's minimal mental clutter and you're no longer overcommitted. So maybe you say no to draining tasks first thing in the day. Maybe you've delegated and deleted what doesn't align. Maybe some of you here have your phone on Do Not Disturb and you start your day with grounding and not reacting. We also have 11th house. This says community. So your mornings might include some sort of connection in some way, right? Whether this is online or some sort of spiritual connections, but again, it's on your terms, right? It feels very supportive, it feels visionary, it feels very collective. Maybe your morning is filled with connection to aligned people or ideas or higher causes. Maybe you lead or attend a morning mastermind or a Voxer chat or some sort of collective meditation, right? There's always some like live stream meditation happening on YouTube, right? Maybe some of you here post an inspiring message to your community, or you check in with a soul friend who energizes you in the morning, right? Maybe this is part of your routine. Maybe you go on a walk with your bestie and your dogs or whatever it is, right? So let's talk about how you work on your terms. What kind of work are you doing in this dream life? How many hours are you working? What's the energy? Who are you helping? Who are you impacting? So we have the Three of Cups in reverse. So I feel like you've moved away from like performative group dynamics or over social workspaces. The energy here feels very sacred. It feels sovereign and it feels intimate. So maybe some of you here work alone or with a select few in deeply meaningful, soul-oriented ways. Maybe you used to work in teams or on collaborative projects, and now you channel your own voice and gifts as your main focus. Maybe you prioritize emotional boundaries with work and your audience or your clients don't own your energy. I remember when I was feeling the call to work more independently and work alone. I mean, I've always felt that since I was a kid. Like whenever the teacher in class would be like, you know, in high school or elementary, middle school, whatever, when the teacher's like, okay, like it's time to buddy up and do a group project, I'd be like, oh, darn it, like I just want to do this on my own, you know, like, so I know that energy, I know that feeling of like wanting that space and that solitude to be able to create, because there can be so many different reasons, right? Maybe you're more introverted, maybe you're extroverted, but you prefer to like, maybe it's distracting to like work on big teams, or maybe you're very psychic, you're very intuitive, maybe you have a lot of 12th house placements, right? Maybe you need time to yourself, right? Like almost like I'm feeling I keep hearing the word like incubation chamber, like think tank. So yeah, this is you not feeling bad for honoring what your body needs, because when you do that, the kind of work that you can create is just beautiful and miraculous and massive and very inspiring. So yes, we also have moon magic transformation. So again, like your work feels very cyclical, mystical. It feels ever evolving. It's very much tied to emotional truth and spiritual growth. Shoot, maybe you have a tarot channel on YouTube too, where you do private readings for people, or maybe you do mediumship, or you read runes, or whatever it is. Maybe you coach, maybe you're a therapist, maybe you're a stay-at-home parent, maybe you work in corporate. Like it just depends, right? Depends what exactly your situation is. But I just feel like things feel very ritualistic. It feels intuitive and it feels sacred. This is you creating based on your energy. Maybe you launch by the moon, right? Or maybe you launch by the moon phases, or you teach shadow work, or you help others transform in some way. Maybe this is you offering moon circles or courses online, or seasonal mentorship containers. Maybe this is you having work that's tied to identity and soul reclamation, right? This is helping others to go through deep change as you have. So let's talk about how you play and rest, and what does fun look like in your ideal schedule? What are you doing with your free time? Are there any sort of travel? Is there any sort of hobbies or travel, community, or connection that's happening here? So we have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse here. This is you not constantly working to fix or improve, right? This is you having rest that's not a reward, but as a right. So this feels like unstructured, curious, playful energy here. This is you rejecting overtraining or personal development overload, right? Like this is you allowing things to be messy and fun. Maybe you paint badly on purpose, right? And I say badly because there's no bad way to paint. We're not art snobs around here, so I feel like art is art no matter what it is. But you get the energy, you get the idea of what I'm trying to say here. Like maybe you bake and make a mess with your kids, or you go off grid for 3 days with no plans. This is you resting deeply without guilt, right? Maybe this is you stopping mid-project to go dance or to nap. Like sometimes when I'm doing these readings, I'll get like a strong pull that like I need to like go outside or like go take my kids to play, and so I'll like fully stop, and it can be tough, right? Like especially for like all you like neurospicy people out there. I have a really hard time with interruptions and like the start stops of everything, and like obviously being a parent there's a lot of that, but it can be frustrating to like the nervous system when you're in flow. But this is you kind of like just trusting where your intuition's guiding you, and when it's leading you to rest and play, I feel like you're gonna take action on that with more ease. So we also have mushroom. This one says recycling, breaking down problems. So again, pile 3, your play and your rest are deeply regenerative. You grow through decay and not effort. So I feel like this feels very earthy. It feels very alchemical, ancestral even. So with mushroom here, I feel like it's teaching us that true transformation happens underground, right? Behind the scenes, in silence, in stillness, or in surprise. This is you finding joy in the compost, right? In gardening and cleaning and storytelling, in ancestral practices, in shadow work, whatever it is, right? You treat resting like a ritual, trusting that this downtime is naturally going to bring you the clarity and the healing that you need. So pile 3, what would it feel like to live your life unburdened, where you no longer perform or prove or have to be perfect to be worthy of joy, right? Let's roll some astro dice. Let's find out more. Okay, so we have Saturn in the 2nd house. So the vibe of your dream day with Saturn in the 2nd house, it feels like stability. It feels like simplicity, and it feels like building lasting value. So in terms of how you live, I feel like there's going to be a very grounded routine here, whether this is budgeting or meal prepping or moving slow and steady. I feel like security is pleasure here. Like, you love knowing that your basics are covered and that your systems are solid. Maybe you start your day with a structured to-do list, or you review your finances weekly and you feel safe in your home rhythm. Maybe you build wealth through discipline and patience, you know, things like business or real estate or coaching or long-term content, right? Evergreen content is what I'm hearing. For example, like maybe you run a stable online shop or consulting business where money builds over time and you track every dollar. In terms of how you play and rest, I'm feeling like you're going to be able to enjoy practical luxuries, whether this is cozy clothes or skincare or good food or, you know, amazing nature walks. I just feel like your rest is going to have you feeling physically and financially supported. Maybe you relax by cooking nourishing meals or listening to music or checking off goals, right? Some sort of structure that soothes you. So thank you so much, friends. I hope that this reading gave you a beautiful, clear picture of what's truly possible for you, and not just someday, but right now. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below with what pile you chose and what resonated most. I'd love to hear about the life that you're dreaming into. Remember to check out my channel page, Title Tarot. I have tons of pick-a-card readings on manifesting your best life, your dream career, home, money breakthroughs, and your next level self. Your dream life isn't just a fantasy, pile 3. It is definitely this frequency that you can begin to align with, one choice, one moment, and one boundary at a time. Remember that you're meant to be free, and you are so worthy of a schedule and a life that honors your soul. Remember that I'm always cheering you on. See you on the next reading. I'm sending you lots of love. Bye, pile 3. Hey, pile 4. Hey, friends. Welcome to your reading. Let's talk about the vibe of your dream day. What's the emotional feeling or aesthetic of your free life? So we have the Ace of Pentacles here, and I feel like this represents a grounded new beginning that brings more prosperity, more security, and more feelings of calm to you. So the energy of this feels very rooted. It feels very abundant. It feels fresh. It feels intentional. So maybe some of you here, you know, in terms of like the aesthetic, you see morning light on lush greenery out your window, right? Or maybe you are barefoot on the porch, or you have your hands in the earth. I feel like you're very much aligned and in rhythm. Maybe some of you here are going to live in a peaceful home where you've planted new roots, either physically or energetically, and you wake up knowing that your income is flowing and that your body feels safe. I can just feel you like taking a deep exhale. Really, like in this era of your life, it feels really good. It feels very just sacred and beautiful. We also have Pink Honey Moon, soothing hurt and inflammation. So your dream life supports your emotional and physical healing too, pile 4. So this feels very soft. It feels nurturing. It feels very feminine. This is you clearing out old trauma or toxic productivity patterns. You've chosen to live in a way that reduces the inflammation of your nervous system, right? So maybe some of you here live by the moon and not by the clock. Maybe this is you rejecting grind culture. I'm a huge proponent of this, so raise your hand if you are too. But I'm just like, I'm a big proponent and a big fan of doing things in your own way, and I've like always bucked authority in the system since I was young. So very much indigo child energy, but I feel like that is the energy that I'm picking up here too. Like, your dream day includes time to simply feel and breathe and be cared for by yourself and by others. Now let's dive a little deeper. Let's talk about your ideal morning routine. What does waking up in freedom look like for you? What are you doing in the first few hours of the day? We have the Wheel of Fortune here, and so I feel like your morning routine has you feeling in flow with the universe. You let each morning unfold naturally with trust. So it feels very magnetic, it feels lucky, it feels surrendered. You start the day open to miracles and new ideas and unexpected blessings, pile 4. You may do things, maybe you do different things each morning, like journaling one day and then walking the next and sleeping in the next day after that, right? Without guilt. I feel like you've allowed the energy of divine timing to lead you and not to be caught up in like rigid to-do lists. We also have Pisces, sensitize. So I feel like your mornings are very spiritual, they're very dreamy, and they're emotionally attuned. Pile 4, I feel like you're very intuitive, you're artistic, and you're fluid. Maybe you allow yourself to feel deeply. Maybe your mornings are slow and sacred and creative. I can see some of you like meditating with music, or like painting your feelings, or interpreting dreams. Lots of intuitive dreamers in this pile is what I'm feeling. Maybe you start the day in a gentle cocoon. Things like essential oils, things like tea, things like ocean sounds, no rushing. Maybe you start the day in a gentle cocoon, right? Things like essential oils or tea or ocean sounds, right? No rushing. I feel like it's giving very much like Larry June energy. I don't know if you guys know who Larry June is, but if you look up Larry June, Life is Beautiful, that album, just like the vibe, the lifestyle that he's talking about, it just like reminds me of this energy here. Let's talk about how you work on your own terms. What kind of work are you doing in this dream life? How many hours are you working? What's the energy? Who are you helping? And who are you impacting? So we have the 7 of Swords here. So maybe you work behind the scenes or in a way that feels unconventional or strategic or private. The word private investigator just popped up in my head. Of course, that's just for specific some of you, but even like being like a spiritual private investigator is what I'm hearing for some of you. The energy here is very clever. It's protective and it's non-linear. I feel like the work energy here is that you protect your energy. You don't overshare, you don't over-explain. I feel like you're building something very powerful in silence. So maybe you work online, or you write books, or you do spiritual mentorship, or you develop intuitive tools that's away from the noise, right? You're doing this kind of like in your cocoon in some way. So maybe you work a few hours, but with deep mental clarity and strategy. I think that you're working smarter, not harder, right? We also have Reach for the Moon. Go for it. So your dream work feels like a risk that you were born to take, Pile 4. It feels very bold. It feels inspiring. It feels limitless. I really do feel like you're finally letting yourself believe in your vision. There's no more self-doubt. There's no more hiding. I feel like you maybe like launch your own deck, or publish your book, or start the business that you've dreamed of. I think this is you leaving the safe job and taking a leap, and it works because it's very much aligned with your soul. So let's talk about how you play and how you rest. What does fun look like for you in your ideal schedule? What are you doing with your free time? What sort of hobbies, travel, community, or connection is happening here? So we have the 4 of Swords here, which I love because this is literally talking about rest. So it's funny. It's like, how do you plan rest? You rest. So with this, Pile 4, your rest is sacred. I think that silence is going to be healing to you, and solitude is going to be joy, right? So this feels very peaceful. It's a place where you can, contemplate things and reflect, and it feels very sacred, like even holy, So I think that your rest time is not just breaks, but it's soul nourishment. So I think this is you giving yourself permission to retreat often, whether to a literal cabin or like a candlelit bath or a silent journaling session. I feel like your idea of fun is spiritual replenishment. So meditation or naps or vision boarding, things like slow walks or sound healing. We also have Hearth. This one says safety, comfort, spiritual connection. So Pile 4, I feel like you play best when you feel safe, and home becomes your sacred sanctuary. So the tone here, it's very warm, it's very maternal, it's soul deep. It's giving like, I don't know if any of you here use TikTok or are on TikTok, but if you follow, she used to go by Kat Reed, K-A-T and then space R-E-E-D, Kat Reed. But I think now she's under the handle Cosmic Mother, but she is very much that vibe of like Hearth, right? She's like very witchy, very spiritual. She's like an herbalist, a mother, a wife, a homesteader, and her content like really does invite others into her sacred space for rituals and rest and, cozy home joy. So maybe for some of you here, you host goddess nights or kitchen dance parties. Maybe you make tea, or you sit in silence and you feel completely whole and your home heals you. I would love to roll some astro dice. Let's find out more. Okay, so we have the sun in the 12th house. What an interesting placement. I feel like it's there's a lot of duality there. If anyone has sun in the 12th house in terms of placements, or if anyone knows of anyone, let me know in the comments. I'm always so curious because I've got a lot of duality in my chart too. I've got like half of me is very like wants to be a leader and like wants to be like public facing, and then there's like lots of part of me that just like I would like to be behind the scenes, hidden, like, so yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy. But let's see. So I feel like the vibe of your day with the sun in the 12th house, it feels like inner light. It feels like soul connection, and it feels like the spiritual power behind the scenes. In terms of how you'll live, pile 4, I really do feel like you need alone time to feel alive, like we spoke about earlier. So quiet mornings, deep introspection, creative flow. Your dream day starts with soul rituals and things like meditation, maybe dream journaling, music, you know, setting intentions, prayer, whatever it is. I feel like this is you waking up before everyone else and lighting a candle and pulling cards and really letting spirit guide your energy for the day. It could be the complete opposite, where you sleep in later than everybody else, but you're staying up at night, and you like, what is that, like you're staying up later than everybody else and you're doing your routine or your rituals then. In terms of how you work, I think that your work shines from behind the scenes, and not because you need to be there. Like if you feel called to be more front facing, do that, follow your heart. But for those of you who feel like you need to be behind the scenes, it could be like just a feeling of that safety, that comfort. And when you feel safe and like when you feel comforted and you feel grounded, and you can do exactly what it is you came here to do. So maybe this is things like healing or creating or intuitively leading. I feel like many of you here in this pile don't crave the spotlight, but you're magnetic when you align with your spiritual gifts. So maybe some of you here are content creators or therapists or energy workers with a very calm private brand, right? And I feel like your audience feels your magic without you needing to perform, right? Like maybe you are a tarot pick a card reader too, and you're not like one of those, I don't want to be like, oh, you're not one of those cheesy like ones that are like, hang on, I'm getting a sign, or like, and I'm not like, I'm not dogging anyone. Everybody has a different style. Everybody, right? Like there's a vibe for every single soul out there, but like I feel like your style is like no BS, more like this style, right? Like straight to the point and not like extra performative fluff. It just is like, it's real. So I just feel like you're moving out of performing and into like just authenticity and alignment. Now let's talk about how you play and rest. When I look at your cards as a whole, I feel like your rest is spiritual. Your play is dreamlike. So think things like film, poetry, being in the ocean, mysticism, right? You crave places and people that feel soft and sacred and soul deep. So maybe you escape into art or float into the oceans or spend hours visioning your dream life in your journal. And that is the joy, you know? So yes. Thank you so much, friends. I hope that this reading gave you a clear, beautiful glimpse into what's truly possible for you, not just someday, but now. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below with what pile you chose and what resonated most. I would love to hear about the life that you're dreaming into. Be sure to check out my channel page titled Tarot. I have tons of pick-a-card readings on manifesting your best life, your dream career, your home, your money breakthroughs, and your next level self. Remember that your dream life isn't just a fantasy, pile 4. It's actually a frequency that you can begin to align with now. One choice, one moment, and one boundary at a time. You're meant to be free. And you are so worthy of a schedule and a life that honors your soul. So I'm cheering you on as always, and I'll see you in the next reading. Sending you lots of love. Bye, pile 4. Bye, Title Tribe.